the people, by the people. For the culture.
Peace. Jumbo. Welcome to the Vital Hoops podcast, right here on Black Power Media Reloaded. My name is Fernando Cardenas, aka International XB. I am your host. This is episode 81. Now, our guest today is a hip hop legend. He's an MC, a creator, a label runner, educator, author, and much more. He has released dozens of solo and collaborative projects over the past 25 years. Our guest is originally from the Bronx, New York City. He is also known as Lil Psy from Scienz Of Life. Our guest is the one and only Mr. John Robinson. John Robinson, welcome to the Vital Hoops podcast. How you doing, brother?
Yes, peace, brother. I'm great, man. Feeling great. Actually a couple days from my 49th rotation.
Word, that's
So yeah,
amazing, man. That's
this is
amazing.
good
Uh,
energy. Every season is always popping for me, bro.
I hear that, man.
Always.
Yo, so listen, first of all, thank you for, taking the time. It's an honor to have you
Absolutely.
on the show, man. You know what I'm saying? I've been following your work for years, man. Before we get going, I definitely want to shout out two people, man. You know what I'm saying? First of all, I want to shout out my brother DJ Ali Representa. He's our DJ. I come from the Cuban hip hop movement.
Dope.
And our DJ, he's the one that put us on to the Science of Life, man. You know what I'm
What's the
saying?
brother's name?
DJ Alex Representa, we call him. It's
Okay.
Alexei
Make sure
Jacomino.
we're connected. Make
Yeah,
sure
no
we're
doubt, no doubt. He put us on, man. It must have been like early to mid 2000s. You know what I'm saying?
right.
Back in the day in Cuba, we were bumping that Project Underground, you
Ooh,
know?
ooh.
For
See,
sure,
and
man.
that's beautiful, man, because even back then, OGs would tell me, yo, just do what you do, bro. You never know how far the music flies.
That's
Just let
right.
it go.
Mm.
So yeah,
Mm.
man.
No doubt, man. Yeah, so shout out to DJ Alec. And
Definitely.
also definitely want to shout out the guy Eloh Kush, man. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
I
yeah.
told him to link us up, man. Definitely shout out to Eloh. He was on the Vital Hoops podcast not too long ago, with the God Soul Messiah. And they were
Okay.
talking about their new project, Darth Vader.
No
You know what I'm
doubt. No
saying?
doubt.
So yeah, he was on for episode 70. I'm definitely gonna put that one down in the description for everybody to check it out if you haven't yet. But yeah, shout out to the brothers and comrades, and welcome, man. Welcome, like I said,
Yeah,
man.
man. Give thanks. Give thanks.
Appreciate it. Yo, so listen, let's get to it, man. I want you to first, if you can, let the listeners know about, hip hop, man. How did hip hop come into your life,
Yeah.
and maybe like the beginnings of Science of Life. How was that founded? And
I'll do my best because there's a broad spectrum,
I'm sure, man, I'm sure.
But yeah, I feel like hip hop came into my life pretty organically,
Mm,
right? Before I knew what graffiti was, I'm from the Bronx
word.
originally,
Hmm.
from the South Bronx. So, I'm going on the train as, a youth with Ma Dukes. And before I knew what graffiti was or what a train was, I just knew about these colorful fast buses. That's what I called it, the fast bus.
Okay.
And they were colorful. And to me, it was never threatening or violent or, I guess destructive more than it was beautiful. You know what I'm saying? As a youngster, I saw that as beauty. Actually, I saw some of the decay as beauty, as unfortunate and crazy as that sounds.
Mm, mm,
Where I
mm.
remember leaving the South Bronx and going back and seeing the abandoned buildings and the lots and the rubble and kind of feeling like, yo, this is like Nana, great Nana's house. You know what
Mm,
I'm saying? That's just what it is in my
mm.
mind. This is
Right.
not violence. This is not poverty. This is not less than. This is
Right.
great Nana's house and it's wholesome community here. You know
Yeah,
what I'm
yeah,
saying?
yeah,
So
yeah.
then the block parties are happening in the early 80s. I remember even the DJs and what they were playing and black. So that's what got me into it. It wasn't so much hip hop per se, it was those records that the DJs were playing that people reacted to in the hoods
No
that was
doubt.
just the founding or building blocks of hip hop. You know what I'm saying? And
Absolutely.
then if I was to name a song the song that always comes to mind because it was such a BX pride song would be Curtis Blow, AJ Scratch. You know, I was a youngster. AJ, hit me. And then the bars, right? It's like up
Yeah.
in the Bronx where the people are fresh. And I'm like, I'm in the Bronx and I'm
Word.
fresh.
You
Word.
like, yo,
Hey,
this
where
they
you
talking to
at?
me. This
You
is
know?
me.
Exactly. So it just gave us, even young, I had like a pride from this song. And when I think back, from young, I'm like, yo, that's one of those the first time I felt like, wow, this song makes me feel proud to be from here and be from around here and the people here. And it was just like, wow, this is community. And I didn't know
Word.
what that was. I was too young to understand easily how to articulate it, but clearly I knew something because I felt it,
No
you
doubt.
know?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So yeah, that's the coming into it, right? And then fast forward, fifth grade, I had a classmate named Jamal Thomas. And, used to go to his house, play video games, eat pancakes, all that cool shit, right?
Mm.
But then one day his parents come in and they start playing videotapes on the VHS, pull out the, stand with the TV on it, and they're performing in all these international locations. And I'm 10 years old, like, what? This is what y'all do when you're not making pancakes? Like, what the, so that I feel like materialized in my mind, like, wait a minute, this is like a superhero in another way because I
Mm.
never knew they did any of this, but they're like on magazine covers. And I felt like that was a subconscious put a pin in that in my
Okay.
life because it didn't happen right away. Like, oh, I know I'm going to do this. It started with making up stories. Word up. My grandfather had us watching everything from Beach Street to Miami Vice to, the Cosby Show to whatever. So it's like, yo, I'm putting all these stories together in my head and
Mm.
just writing out things and seeing the films. And, it was just telling stories. Then that led to poetics and rhymes. And then the rhyme became, oh, word, I can meet all the girls and be the coolest. The iller I get,
Right.
I'm with it. And that's what took me, I mean, I'm real, but I'm kidding. It was, what took me further? We had great teachers, man. Dynamic minds on the microphone as display, as the
Oh, of
standard.
course. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So just like
No
they
doubt.
look at jazz and the masters, we have the masters.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
We have
True.
the OG masters, the Melly Mel's, the Busy Bees, the Cool Mo D's, etc. But then you have the Grandmaster Caz. I gotta,
Yeah.
if I didn't
No doubt.
mention you, it's because it's so many. But
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
making
it's a
a
lot.
point here, right? And then you got the other masters that ushered into my era, the 80s, the Run DMCs, the Rakim, Eric B's, the KRS-One BDPs, you know what I'm saying? The
Yeah, yeah.
brand Nubian MCs and the PRTs, you know what I'm
Woo.
saying? It was just like, yo,
Yeah.
all of these things, the X clans, the
Wow.
movement. And it was like
Yeah.
to see that and experience that, and you want to do this, you out your mind to think you could half step. Ain't no half stepping, right? It's 88, time
Yeah,
to
yeah,
set it
yeah, yeah,
straight.
yeah.
So it was just all these teachers and dynamics that just, if we're being honest, we got ushered in Orco style. Feet don't touch the ground, my G. Like just,
Mm. Word up.
especially being in New York at that time. I mean, brother, it could be anything, bro. It could be, I'll leave this question on this note. Me and my brother, Invisible Hands, were standing on our block. This is like circa 86, Far Rockaway, Queens at the time.
Mm.
And one of our neighbors from up the street just got his Mustang, Kenny. He's older than us. And he pulls up to get his girlfriend, but he's pumping boom, 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 boom. And we heard Rock Him Rock, and we was
All right.
just like, yo, he pulled off, and we looked at each other and said, yo, no one's gonna rap iller than that ever. Like, there's no way. And it was just like, whoa. So those moments brought us in, man. It was
Yeah.
just yeah, we're sold. We're in. We're
No
gonna
doubt.
be in this, even if it's not as a practitioner, as a listener and a fan and supporter of this. I knew from those days I'm gonna be in this forever in
Mm.
some way. You know what I'm saying?
No doubt. Yeah, yeah, for sure, man. And Science of Life, man. Me personally, Science of Life definitely one of my favorites. I definitely love everything from the rhymes to the music,
Mm,
obviously the beats, everything. But one of the things that's not always like you mentioned some of those groups that definitely let me know that, kind of answers my questions, but that's not in every quote unquote real hip hop group, which is the pro-blackness
yeah,
that I hear in Science of Life. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? That I
yeah.
think is so important to me personally that touches me. Talk to me a
No,
little bit
it's
about
deep
that, man.
rooted. It's
Mm.
deep rooted, right? And it's
Yeah.
like it has evolved in its perspective and outlook, right?
Mm.
But it's always rooted and founded there because Science of Life is the sons of groups directly, like
Yeah.
KMD, like
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
we mirrored KMD before we met Doom, RIP, or
Right.
any of the fellas, or knew, any of them personally. So we're looking at that. We're looking at PRT and like realizing that, yo, these brothers are not that much older than us, but the way they're thinking is like, whoa, I
Mm.
want to think like that. And, it showed us Brand Nubian, Brand Nubian showed
Yeah.
us, yo, you could be stylish, flavorful, swaggy, and still be intelligent and have knowledge and still
Right.
maneuver and move in a certain way, but more so just have a certain perspective about who you are and
Mm-hmm.
that pride of just like, yes, the black man is God. We
Mm-hmm.
are the gods. You know what I'm saying? We
Right.
are the people of the sun for real. Like, you know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? Like, without a doubt. And it's like, that is what set us down that journey of always wanting to be tapped in. And I got to say this, yo, because we're talking about the start of Science of Life.
Mm-hmm.
Inspector Willoughby is the heart, soul, mind, body, spirit of Science of Life.
Mm.
Like, really, and wow, it brings tear. I'm literally tearing up because that
Right.
brother brought so much to the cipher. Like,
Mm-hmm.
instantly,
That's
like I'll paint the picture for y'all. I'm with now we did the Flow Joe, right? We went from Bronx to Piscataway.
mm-hmm.
Senior year high school, we're in Piscataway, right? This is the story too. Two brothers, Four Winds is actually 2 years older than me, but we
Okay.
graduated the same year in high school because long story short, back in the day, he started school late. I skipped sixth to eighth grade. From eighth to 12th, we was in the same grade.
Okay.
So by the time we land in Piscataway, we meet Willoughby. But I met him first. I'm in the lunchroom. There's a young lady seeing me look at him. She's like, hey, don't go talk to him. He's weird. He be reading these crazy books and rapping to himself. And yeah, he's just always wearing camouflage and Timbs. And yeah, I was like, yo, that sounds like my brother. I swear to you, bro, I sat across from him from that table and introduced me. When I think back, it seems like our hands went like this, and the next 10 years, I could count on one hand how many days we didn't see each other. Real
Wow.
talk. It
That's
was
great.
the brotherhood for real.
That's
Like,
what's
yeah,
up.
locked in.
Yeah.
93 to '03 was that stint. It was longer, but that was that we're locked in, like, and
Mm-hmm.
that's what built it. It was built on culture. It was built on information. It was built on, a dire need to understand who are we, who and what we are. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Right.
what's the lineage? What's the story? Yeah, I know that story through the music, but what about before that? What's the cultural story?
That's right.
What's the story in different parts of the planet? What's the story outside of that? You know what I'm saying? And just it took us down this journey that's like really ever evolving and turned us into
That's right.
lifelong learners. And one of our master teachers, right, we got to sit with, and this is between the first album and second album. And he was like, yo, I love the first album, but I feel like y'all are boxing yourselves in a bit.
Mm.
We're like, what do you mean? He's like, I feel like you could say all you want to say, but make the message for the people who don't know too, because they really need it. He said the first album, you're talking to the knowers first. And he
Okay.
said, really, that's preaching to the choir. He said, 10 years will pass, you'll be boxed in and be traveling around the world only talking to the people who know. He
Wow.
said, that's not the mission. The mission is to reach the people who don't know, who ain't tapped in, and tune into them, especially our people, right? So he's like, put the message and the intentions of what you're making.
Mm.
And real talk, that was the birth of John Robinson in a sense. You know what I'm saying? Me
That's what's up.
being willing to use my government and basically put these decoded rhythms in your heart, mind, and soul that you don't know you getting. You
Yeah.
think, oh, this, that, but nah, yo, all this is intentional. It's like the wise playing the role of a fool or
Mm.
giving you what you want so that you'll want
Yeah.
what I really have to give you. And I think that's a part of what Science of Life grew and evolved to. There's different levels, there's balance. And you're
No
gonna see
doubt.
a lot of that in new music, different
Okay.
balance. It,
Yeah.
it might even shake the floor and shake the room a little bit, but ripples cause
Yeah.
opportunity base
That's right.
and change.
Yeah, no doubt, man. Yeah, I appreciate you sharing that. I appreciate you sharing that. That's deep.
Yeah,
And I
no,
want,
it's always emotional, man, talking
yeah,
about Ra's son, because
for sure.
Ra's son is a light being. I'll leave that section on this note and say, man, if there's a brother or a person that you could have met in this plane that you would want to be one of your guides in the ancestral plane, he's one of them.
Mm,
Definitely.
mm,
He is. And I give thanks.
no
No
doubt. I
doubt.
appreciate that. So listen, on that note, I definitely want to get into, your longevity, man, because like you said, we're gonna hear some of that in the new music. Like,
Yeah.
I felt like you've always kept going, man, and whether it's Science of Life, whether it's you by yourself, John Robinson, or collaborating with other MCs, other dope, groups and all of that, it's
Yeah.
always been top tier hip hop. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Um,
Appreciate it.
no doubt, man, and it's real. And you know, talk to me a little bit about that, the longevity, but also like going into not just being an MC, but also another element of hip hop, which is entrepreneurialism. So how do you work that magic, man?
Yeah, I think longevity has a great deal to do with a combination of things. I think it starts with, do you know your why? Why do you even do it? Are you doing it just as entertainment? Are you doing it because it's literally a part of who you are and this is just what you do? And do you understand those things? I think it starts there, right? And once you know that, I think it's easy to just navigate to that space of growing to, no, no, no. No matter what I do, this is who I am. So this is a part of it.
Mm,
And I would say another sector is affiliations, right? Strong affiliations. And it's not like we went seeking for these affiliations either, but it does help to say, yo, I entered into the space with my first two vinyls with Bobito Garcia and Fondlem Records. And then that led us to Big Just of Company Flow. And then that connected us to MF Doom. And that, you know what I'm saying? And the list goes on and
yeah,
unfolds. So it's like, yeah, those type of connections and affiliations definitely help for the longevity because you become a part of the story. It's like jazz. All of the cats that work with the major cats, they got their own branches and trees and things, right? So that's what's happening in this. So we never downplay that either. And then I think collaboration, you said it. Plant seeds all over the world.
yeah,
You know
yeah,
what
yeah.
I'm saying? If you want things to blossom, you got to plant a seed. And that's a simple but major jewel because sometimes us as creatives, or you get to a certain stature, you wait for the thing to come to you. And it's like, that's not how nature works. That's not how life works.
Mm,
You got, even no matter how far you go, how big you grow, the seed is necessary to plant for the things to start happening. So if you're not planting seeds for the things you want to see happening, yo, I promise you, you'll be waiting for the rest of forever,
word.
to see
Yeah,
them
yeah,
grow. So even things like that, being intentional, and I said it too, bro, being a life learner, not tripping off yourself. Like I can learn from younger people who are less
right.
experienced than me
That's right.
because guess what? They have a different perspective I might not be thinking about.
Mm,
So it's like be a life learner, step in spaces, get that chip off your shoulder, and yo,
100,
be open in these spaces. Study the field. This is ever evolving.
no
We
doubt.
see. So that's part of longevity. And the last thing I'll say, bro, about that is when you make the decision to not separate what you do creatively from just who you are, I think it becomes easier. It's like I wake up like, I woke up like this. Like I literally woke up
Yeah,
like this. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
And it's
yeah,
one of those things where it's like, yo, pull it together. And if it's really who you are, be who you are. But there's a difference between living the lifestyle of hip hop and doing hip hop entertainment.
for
You know what
sure.
I'm saying? I'm not doing
100%.
hip
Yeah.
hop entertainment.
Nah,
I'm living the
you
lifestyle of
live it,
hip hop.
yeah. No doubt. I
Yeah,
hear that.
Yeah.
Appreciate that, man. And shout out to Bobito, man. Bobito, a lot of the brothers and
Yo, Bob
sisters
is
who,
the
a
illest.
lot of the people who he started with, it's real
Bro, and
people.
you know
You
the
know what I'm saying?
beauty of Bob? The beauty of Bob, and I heard him say it. And Bob, if you're seeing this, bro, correct me if I'm wrong, but every record you put out, you personally loved, or otherwise it wouldn't come out. So
Yeah,
his aesthetic and curation didn't come from, yo, people might rock with this. It's like, no, I love it, I'm putting it out.
yeah,
And
for
I
sure.
love that. I learned from that too,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah, no doubt, man. Shout out to
Yeah.
Bobito, man. He was out in Cuba, man, and he ran his tournament over there. We got a chance to chop it up and
Yo,
everything when I was,
I can't wait to touch ground one day, man.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
for sure, man, for
Yeah.
sure. So yeah, so one of the things it seems that, you really saying is, authenticity, man. You know what I'm saying? Not being able to be
Authenticity, man.
yourself,
Yeah, man.
and do what you do. And, one of the examples I'm gonna give from things that you do, I think like your merch, for example, your merch is super dope. And I seen you like on the IG on the
Yeah.
sewing machine, you know what I'm saying,
Word,
doing it
word.
yourself and everything. Like
Yeah, man.
it's something different. It's not like everybody else, like just print a t-shirt with a logo. Nah, you could tell it's
Exactly.
like, you know what I'm saying? It's
Yeah,
deeper
man.
than that. You know what I'm saying?
It is. And it became deeper, brother, when I realized it's bigger than just a piece of merch. Like
Mm,
if someone's willing to cop, like think about it, someone's willing to on their phone or computer, bling, I'm plinging you from Japan, from
yeah,
Australia, from all over Europe, from Brazil, other places in South America, etc., right? And I'm willing to pay, and I'm talking internationally
yeah,
mainly
yeah, yeah.
because they may purchase, yo, a $25 t-shirt, but the shipping costs
Yeah,
damn near the same thing or
I know. I'm
more,
in France.
right? And then so
Yeah,
it's like I start to realize, oh no, 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 this is not just merch. These are my people.
yeah, you're touching these people,
This
like,
is
you know what I'm saying?
tribe worldwide. I
Mm,
need to connect with these are the people who really rock with us.
yeah,
I need to connect with these people and communicate. So I start getting more intentional with, yo, I'm not gonna sell to you all day. I'm going to, yeah, I'll tell you what we have available, etc. But no, I'm gonna speak value.
mm,
I'm giving value. I'm sharing value to bring you to the gates.
right.
And if it resonates with you, cool. If it doesn't, maybe one day it will, maybe it won't. But there's always value to share. And I think that's what kind of stirs up the ecosystem instead of like knocking on people's doors, always asking them to buy something or do this, do that.
Mm,
Yo, I'm just sharing value, period.
yeah, yeah, for sure. Appreciate that, man. Well, all right, man. So I wanted to talk a little bit about the plant-based lifestyle, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Your
yeah,
plant-based journey,
absolutely.
man, because this is something that's, very important to me. Let me tell you a quick story, man. When I was during the pandemic, I wasn't here in France yet. I was back in Cuba.
Okay.
And so what I would do is I would work out at the crib. I would always download podcasts. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
I
yeah,
would go
yeah.
to the park because we don't have like regular internet. Like now it's starting to change a little bit, but in Cuba, you got to go to like a park or somewhere where there's Wi-Fi,
Got
download
it.
your shit or whatever, and then
Got it.
you know what I'm saying? So I would go to the park and I was downloading podcasts and I came across Epic Brunch, you and your queen,
Ah,
man. You know what I'm
yes,
saying?
yes,
So I
yes.
would I would be I think the episodes weren't brand new, but I would download all of them whatever I could, and I would listen to them and everything, and it was super dope, man.
Word.
So,
Nah, she's gonna love to hear that because
yeah, real
we're
talk,
actually
man.
working on rebranding that, and
Oh, that's what's up.
yeah,
I'm glad to hear
yeah,
that.
yeah, man, definitely.
Yeah,
Nah,
yeah, no doubt.
she'll love to hear that too. And yeah, bro, that was us sharing building a safe space where we could talk about, things like food and health and diet, etc., but then other creative things too.
Mm,
And then it's us having these conversations with other dope people in our
yeah.
circle so that we could just kind of cut some of the narratives of, oh, this space isn't safe, it's judgy, it's this, it's that, people think this, and it's like, nah, yo, this is about health. You know what I'm
Right,
saying? At the end of the
right.
day, this is about health. This is about wellness. We're all
Mm,
living on this planet together. We're seeing the rapid changes of health declining. And
mm,
then, it started empowering me to the point I was getting information like, I mean, because I'm around dynamic people, but when I tapped into that world, yeah, I'm hearing bars like, look, brother, it's as simple as this. Everything you put in your mouth is a choice between life and death
mm,
every single time.
mm.
Which one you gonna do? I'm just like, oh
Right.
my. God,
Literally, literally,
and
man.
that's
That's
how I
what it is, literally.
tiptoed into the space hearing those type of bars. Like,
Okay.
whoa.
Okay, okay.
But to be real with you, bro, just to talk about how I entered in the journey, it
Mm,
wasn't this, I'm going vegan, I'm plant-based, I'm done with it wasn't that more than it was got home from a tour late summer. This is like 2010. So this must have been International Summers with Lewis Parker, right?
okay.
Eating bad that tour, just late and tired and up in the morning. I mean, just because we really had an international summer. I can't even remember how many countries we hit in like 30 days, right? And so I get home, I'm feeling horrible, sluggish, just like, oh man, I've never felt this bad. I just feel horrible, no energy. I can't remember what it was called, but I ran into this documentary,
Mm.
right? And this documentary is talking about you know what? It might have been called Fat, Sick, and Nearly Dead. That's what it was called.
Oh, I haven't
And
seen that one.
yeah, and it was this guy who was going through all these health issues and decided, you know what? I'm gonna do a cleanse for like a handful of days with some green juice. And started to feel so good by day 5. He's like, yo, I'm going for a week. 2 weeks, 30 days, and reset his system and start to just like articulate how he felt, what it did for him, and documented the process. And it was inspiring. So I said, you know
That,
what? I'm gonna try it for a few days. Yo, day 1 and 2 was hell. It was crazy, right?
that's how it be. Yeah,
By
it's
the time I
difficult.
got to 4, yo, I felt like yo, Prince T'Challa, King T'Challa rather, like just on this whole nother level of like, yo, what is this? When a week, 2 weeks passed, a month passed, right? And I literally got to a point where my body changed, skin's changing, energy through the roof. I'm a different person. Like literally, I felt it. Right. So then as I start to come off the fast of just green juice, I start to salads. I remember biting into an apple and it felt like a full meal. I was like, oh man, I'm changed as a being. Like this is different,
Yeah, yeah, no doubt.
and it was that transformation that I felt so good in that space when I thought about, yeah, because at the time I wasn't eating beef. I was probably eating fish mainly, but even that, I
Eggs.
didn't want fish. Eggs,
Yeah,
cheese was the main. That
yeah,
was the
yeah,
main thing I ate. Cheese. I wasn't a milk person at all. So it's probably cheese and then dairy products and baked goods and things like that.
yeah, yeah,
Right.
yeah.
But it was one of those things where I tried to eat some cheese in a salad, right? Yo, I was sick from the
Mm,
cheese. And it was just like, yo, I can't do this no more. And my body changed so much. A lot of those things I didn't want. And I really was gravitating towards what I was drinking. Those fruits and vegetables. Oh, let
right,
me
right.
saute some stuff. Let me, and that felt like, oh man, just to saute some veggies and grill ups. I was just like, I'm good. So it got me to a level where I was able to cook food lightly, but even when it's time to go raw, I could definitely get with the raw food selections too, just
For sure.
because this many years I realized to really do this and sustain this way of living, you have to cook or just
Exactly.
have
Yeah,
someone.
that's the
Yeah, you
key.
got to
Yeah,
cook or have a lot of money to pay someone to do it
yeah,
up.
yeah,
But yeah,
yeah.
you have to
But
cook.
cooking, yeah, cooking is the key. Yeah, it's important,
Cooking
man.
is the key. Yeah. So
Yeah,
I just fell in love with cooking kind of to a point too when I met my wife, I started chefing up for her and she just surrendered. I'm like, yeah, nah, you need to cook too. She's like, nah, you cook better. So we do share, but yeah, I love it so much. I find myself just, in the kitchen, chefing up and starting things,
Same
realizing, oh,
here.
my bad, you said you was gonna cook right and step back. But
Yeah, same
cooking's the
here, man.
part. But yeah, overall, brother, I feel like for me, I told you how it started. Sustaining it has been just a love for cooking and finding how to make the things we love with vegetables and
Mm.
plants, like
Yeah,
really,
yeah,
and just understand too, like over the traveling and things like that, like understand where the places are, where the
yeah.
safe spaces are to, get good nourishment. And there's so many like-minded people around the world who think this way and, move this way and live this lifestyle that
Mm.
it's been amazing.
No doubt. Yeah. No, I think it's super inspiring and it's super dope, man. People need to see people like us, you know what I'm saying, into the lifestyle because it's
Yeah,
important to make it dope. You know, it's the age of health and wellness. You know what I'm saying? And
yeah,
understand that that is part of our culture. You know what I'm saying? Not to think that this
of
is some
course.
new thing for us. Like our
Yeah,
ancestors were into this. You know what I'm saying? This is part of who we are. You know,
yeah, man.
taking care of ourselves, taking care of our environment. You know what I'm saying? Respecting all living beings. You know what I'm saying? All
Yes.
of that is part of who we are in our culture. And I think it's important to show it and
Yeah,
live
man.
it.
We're
You know what
we're
I'm saying?
from paradise. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Literally.
Yeah,
We
yeah,
our
yeah.
ancestry is from
No
paradise. You
doubt.
know,
Where the soil is
everything's
fertile
organic.
and the food grows.
Yeah,
You know what I'm
everything
saying?
life is organic.
Yeah,
There's nothing else. Like you don't need to
absolutely.
label it. Everything's just
That's
what it
right.
is, you know? And that's the thing too. I tell people who are tapped in, right? There may be some people tapped in who feel like, I'll never do that plant-based stuff, this, that. What I said earlier is a very real thing, right? And it was something that was said to me early on where it's like everything we put in our mouths is a choice between life and death. And it's very true, right? And as harsh as a reality as that may be, I'm not speaking from this as I'm saying I'm this perfect person who never eats
Bro.
anything that's not good for me. You know what I'm saying? But I'm definitely very mindful of like the overall perspective and my outreach is, yeah, we need greens. We
Yeah,
need,
yeah,
certain
absolutely.
nourishing minerals and things in our bodies to make sure that, yeah, we can move
For
and
sure.
groove as long as we can,
Yeah,
and that's really the jewel. And then also another jewel is, yo, look around. The food's different. Technology is a part of the food now, and these industries don't care about health more than making money. So it's
right.
like, why fall victim to that if you can gain information, empower yourself, and just move different? And
No
that's
doubt.
really what this wave is about, right? Vital,
For sure.
like
Yeah.
straight up.
I tell it's
Vital,
vital, without a
vital.
doubt.
Yeah, man. Very vital. And
Yeah.
that's what we're dealing with.
And
Definitely.
and speaking about that, man, one of your dope records that came out not too long ago, man, Stick to Your Ribs, man. When y'all
Oh,
dropped that
yeah.
one, I
Yeah,
was
yeah, yeah.
hyped. I was hyped. I was bumping that, man.
Yeah, yeah, we're gonna
That
bring
was
that
super
back. We got
dope.
we got like a full EP that's a part of that we about to just let go.
Mm,
But yeah, I mean that's again, that was inspired by like going back to like KRS-One beef.
absolutely.
You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? But even like Dead Prez, you know what I'm
Be
saying?
healthy. Yep, yep.
Be healthy. You know
For
what I'm
sure.
saying? It's like when we heard that and we heard how the guys just flipped, we was like, oh
Same.
my
Yeah.
God, they made tofu and curry sound like the illest,
That's what
like
it's about, man. Yep.
like, yo,
Word
but
up.
again, it's about, like you said, that's a vibe, right? It's like, nah, we ain't whining and dining, popping by. We cooking our own food. Because you know
Word.
what? We don't know what's in that. We're not behind that wall.
Absolutely.
I'm
Yep.
chefing up. I'm the chef. We got chefs around us who think
That's right.
like us, who live like us, and that's just the vibe. And I feel
No
like
doubt.
we're in that time where I feel like a lot more people should be moving and thinking in this way because
Mm.
it's dangerous not to.
No doubt. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
It's definitely our health, you know what I'm saying? And also, do we want to be a part of an industry that's, literally torturing other living beings? Like that's
exactly.
not, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, man.
Not what we
Yeah. And then
about.
it's just, yeah. I mean, it's hard to articulate, I'm sure, as you know, because when you pull yourself out of it, especially for like over a decade plus, etc., it's hard to imagine real talk consuming animals like that in a way. Like I can't
Absolutely.
even
Yeah.
really imagine doing that again.
Yeah.
And it's not to judge anyone who does, etc., but it's like when you pull yourself away, it's kind of hard to go back. So even in
Yeah.
certain scenarios, I tell people like, yo, respectfully, we traveling together. If there's certain scenarios, it's easier for you to come my way than it is for me to go where
Yeah.
you are. So it's like,
Absolutely.
yo, let's compromise in that way. But,
Word up.
it's like you said, it's about wellness, it's about
Mm,
life, it's about health,
for sure.
So yes, ITAL is very vital.
No doubt. Appreciate that. 100%, man. All right,
Yeah.
let's get into your book, brother. Keep it
Yes.
moving, yo. You wrote a
Keep it
book,
moving, yo.
Motivation for Your Journey.
Yes,
And
yes.
so I listened to the whole thing. I didn't read it, but I obviously got the ebook and
But you know what? No,
and the tracks.
I
But I
wanted
listened. I
people to
listened. Yeah,
listen.
yeah,
I
yeah, yeah.
wanted to listen. I'd
Yeah, yeah.
rather people listen because you get to hear me,
Yeah. For sure,
Yeah,
for sure, for sure. Yeah, yeah. And so I thought it was super dope, man. A lot of these things are things that, people may think they know, but it's important to hear them in order to
exactly.
really turn them into action, you know what I'm saying, and really
Yes.
make things happen. It's something that's necessary. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And of course, I really love the bonus tracks. Bonus tracks are key. That's where the gems are at. I'm not gonna spoil
No,
it.
I
The
know.
the the,
That's where
the,
the
the
gem's at.
bonus,
And
yeah,
you know what? I'm glad you said that, brother, because the reality is this book is designed to give space for more. You
yeah.
know what I'm saying? That's something I learned about in this game, right? Like, or in this space, because it's not a game, right?
Mm,
This is a space. This is real. But I learned that if you give people too much in the beginning, like they won't come back. You know, it's just like it's too much, or they won't even get into it because a lot of who you're speaking to, like you said, are the people who don't do none of this yet. This is new to them. Like all my peoples, I tell them, man, you'll listen to this first book. Like you said, the chapters are for you. All this stuff you know already, to be real.
mm, mm.
But again, I'm going back to that jewel from the OG from Project Overground. Yo, put the intention in the jewels, but make it universal so everyone can get it. So this enter in, right? But then I give you those bonus chapters to let you know, oh yeah, there's more coming, and it's gonna be a deeper dive.
What?
Like we going in, you know what I'm saying? But even with this, the plan is this too, bro.
Mm,
I have this foundational layout. I'm going to speak value and deep dive into the structure that's there already and have all these different
yes.
pathways to bring people in to make them think even deeper about what's actually being said and shared because there's layers to all of this. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
And it's simple, but it's layered. And at the end of it, keep it moving, yo. What I learned is it's motivation that does it, but nah, it's discipline, it's
Yes. Yes.
structure,
And
it's
consistency.
systems,
And
it's
consistency.
consistency. But that discipline kind of ushers that consistency because
Mm,
now you made it a routine. This is a part of me. This is
yeah.
not some motivation for the moment. This is just what it is,
That's it.
you know? And then I think that's what allows for all these things to just continue. And, you know, the book came from a space too of if I'm keeping it a buck, talking around the house, I'll hang up the phone. The wife is like, "Yo, dude, how did you give him your cash app?" I'm like, "What you talking about?" She's like, "You just gave whoever that was an hour workshop seminar, bro. You set up their whole company." And she's like, "This shit need to be a book. What are you doing?" I'm like, "Wow, you know." So
What?
it started very organically of just me recording myself wanting to. This wasn't a book at first. It was just me recording myself doing this positive self-talk experiment. So every time I was in a car and I remembered, I would press record and just positive self-talk myself, you know, like, yo, what are the things that JR would want to hear to make him feel like, yo, let's go. And it was just like, yo, bro, you're powerful. You share, you
Mm,
know, you got perspective that the world needs. You know
okay.
what I'm saying? You're willing to travel the world and connect with people and make these dynamic bridges open-heartedly and that and just say these things, right? And record them. I did this for a few months and then went back and started listening to this and was like, whoa, damn, this made me feel like, yo. And then I ran into a book called It's All in Your Head by this independent artist named Russ.
Hmm.
And I ran into the physical copy and it was packaged so dope. And, you know, so I got in my car leaving. I think it was in a mall. I saw this. Got in my car leaving. I was like, oh shit, I'm always listening to audiobooks. Search for that book, push play. And by time chapter two came in, I was like, yo, those things need to be an audio book. And just it just put the whole thing together. Like that's what that should be, and
Yeah.
that's how I should. And it just kind of helped me put that in perspective, mixed with shout out to Kenyatta, the hip hop motivator. My peeps out in LA. Long time ago, he told me he went to a workshop with the legendary Les Brown, motivational speaker, and a question was asked to Les, how does he write so many books? And he says, I don't write books, I speak them.
Hmm.
And he basically was saying a lot of his books, he's not writing them first, more than recording himself saying the chapter ideas and then going back and transcribing, editing it down, and that becomes the book. So
Okay.
that became my process. The
Mm.
books with Jay Rawls was that. This Keep It Moving, yo, started as speaking first, then editing down to a book because I felt that when I'm speaking, it just comes off more personable. It comes off more, and it's easier for me to get the ideas out, and edit it later and chop it later and make it more concise. So that's a jewel that I pass on all those people, especially if you're an orator, speaker, poet, etc., and you're writing a book. Try to record yourself while
Mm.
building these things because you may find your ideas come out a lot easier than you thought. And it's just more natural to you because you record yourself vocally all the time. So
Right.
yeah, that's part of this and how
Right.
this
Right.
came together.
No doubt, man. Hey, salute for that one. It's really a dope book, man. I'm gonna have definitely the link down in the description also, so everybody can go cop
Yeah.
that. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
And I
Check it
and
out.
this is for the people for real. This is for who this is.
Hmm.
No matter what level and stage you're on, you're feeling stuck, you're feeling like you need movement, you're feeling like, yo, I need inspiration, I need ideas, I need that positive self-talk on my shoulder. I feel like this book is that, right?
Yeah.
But it's also a perspective, like you said, from the entrepreneurial side. Yo, how do I set my certain things up and put things in a system so that I could become this routine? And it
Hmm.
teaches and gives that perspective, but also just simple things like, yo, protecting your peace.
Yeah.
One of the bars I say, yo, every time you say yes to something that's not in the wheelhouse of your goals, you're saying no to something that is, because we don't got that much time. Real
Fair.
talk. And every
Fair.
idea doesn't resonate with who you are as a person and what you're moving towards. Sometimes it's okay to say no,
Yeah.
and that's part of the keep it moving, yo, too, where be mindful of all these things. If you're on this mission, you got to be balanced and you got to have the perspective that makes sense
For
and
sure.
make mistakes, make a lot of mistakes fast so you could really learn, you
Yeah.
know?
Now that's a jewel right there. Learning to say no, that's key, man. That's what I be
Oh
telling
yeah,
my wife.
yeah,
Sometimes we take on too much shit, man. You know what I'm saying? We gotta
absolutely.
know when to say like, nah, I can't do this one right now, or I'm gonna sit this one out, or
Exactly. No,
it's not
it's
for me.
it's the best thing for you because it allows more opportunity for the things that really are moving towards where you're going.
Yes. For sure, for sure. Yeah, everybody check it out, man. Keep it moving, yo.
Yeah,
All
yeah.
right, man. Yo, it's time to
Ooh,
talk basketball. It's time to
ooh.
get into that orange and blue. Get
Yeah,
into that
man. You
orange
know
and
what?
blue
It's funny.
culture.
I have people in my life who feel like, man, you still watching that basketball, man. Forget that. Look, man, I've been in the garden since like 8 years old, like, Trent Tucker era,
Word.
Gerald Wilkins, yeah,
Hey.
that back in the day, the Ewing era,
Yes, yes.
yeah. So I
Listen,
was,
I'm not from New York, but
yeah,
when I was a kid, my brother was living in New York when I started
got it.
playing ball. I
See?
have older brothers, and he would come back and talk to me about the Knicks. So that's how I got into it. And at the
Got
time,
it.
it was John Starks and Patrick Ewing, and that was the
Yeah,
squad, you know what I'm
yeah,
saying? And so I became a Knicks fan from that day on. I
yeah.
always stayed a Knicks fan, man, my whole life.
Now it's amazing how that squad, right? I mean, there's Knicks fans all over the world who just been there, and I tell people it's beyond being the champions all the time, and it's a different wave. It's the energy that
Yes.
comes from that city and that building,
Hmm.
etc.
Yeah,
But yeah, I would say, man, through all the years, it's definitely been yeah, it's been fun watching this season and this
yeah.
team, and I
It
look
has
forward to
been.
the postseason. This healthy squad we get to see, like, yeah, this top tier squad we have right now in full action, and
It's
I
nice. It's a
think
nice
win or
squad.
lose, I'm gonna enjoy it. You know?
It's a real nice squad, man.
Oh yeah,
We had a lot of tough years, difficult years, man. You know what I'm
mad
saying?
years. Yeah,
I remember the most beautiful years I remember when I was a kid after, of course, John Starks and Pat and them. It was, of course, the Sprewell era,
oh
with
yeah,
Larry
yeah. The
Johnson
Allen Houston
and
era.
Allen Houston. Man, they
Yeah,
was nice. That was a nice squad. When their eighth seed went all the way to the finals.
exactly.
Man, that was a beautiful squad. But
Yeah,
then,
because yeah, we lost to Spurs, right?
yeah, Spurs in the
Yeah,
championship, man. That
yeah,
was the
man.
year after Mike left, after
Yeah.
MJ left.
Yeah,
But
because that's, I mean, if we're being real, that's why we haven't been there in so many years. It's two letters, MJ. Like, yeah,
yes,
if we're being
yeah,
honest.
that's why
That's who
Pat didn't get
stopped it.
his chips. That's why Pat didn't
Literally.
get his
Yeah.
chips, man, you know.
Literally. Can you
Mike was
imagine if how the league is today? Pat and MJ would have played together back then.
yeah,
Like,
yeah, yeah, for sure.
yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, how the league is today,
Uh,
it's a different, they just squad up. Back
man,
then, it was like, yeah,
it was
two
like we at
superstars
war.
top. Yeah, yeah,
Man.
man. But I'm loving it. I mean, I'm a fan of the league for sure, just
Yeah.
because I mean, I grew up watching, I grew up tapped in, and like you said, it was older family members that brought me in. It was
Mhm.
my aunt Sharon, who played basketball in college, also was a cheerleader, and she was just a sports fan. So she would have me and my brother in the garden early, behind the scenes, getting to be close and personal with the players. So it was just a different love for the
Word.
game early. And the colors, man, it's just that orange and blue. I'm
Yeah.
locked in. I'm
Yeah.
locked in.
Yeah, it's dope.
You
Everything.
know?
It's like you said, it's the city, it's the
Yeah,
Mecca,
yeah,
and New York is a basketball city, man. You know what I'm
it
saying? It's
is.
it's a court on every two, three
Yeah, man.
blocks. It's a court, you know what I'm saying? It's the home of hip hop. All of that plays into it. You know what I'm saying? The orange and
Yeah.
blue is super dope. And like over the years I just always stayed a Knicks fan, man. You know what I'm saying? And then but like you said, this year's squad is interesting. I like it. To be honest, I wasn't happy at first when we lost Julius Randle. I thought I
Yeah.
wanted to keep him. I was like, he's a
Yeah.
dog. You know what I'm saying? He's gonna scrap
Yeah,
for
yeah,
the
yeah.
squad, but
I knew we had to do something to fill that space that Mitch wasn't going to be locked in yet,
that's
because
true.
I
Yeah.
just knew from that last postseason scenario, Mitch ain't healthy and he
Uh-huh.
ain't coming
Uh-huh.
back like just hitting the ground running. You know what I'm saying? This is a 7-footer. They take a while to
That's
get
right.
there,
That's right.
especially when you're talking about knees and legs and shit like that. So I think that was a smart play. And I knew Cat, he's from the area, yo. So that's kind of like
Yeah, that's
I
good.
knew like when they were kind of like hinting about Cat for a couple years,
Yeah.
people were hating on it. Oh, he can't stay healthy. I just felt like, nah, that's one of them young talents. He come to New York, that put a battery in his back and
That's
changed who
true.
that cat
Yeah.
is. And we seeing, yo, this dude's a young monster in the
He's like,
city.
I'm home. He's like, I'm
It's
home.
only year one. Like, don't sleep.
True.
This season
True.
one. Like, you know what I'm
True.
saying? So what he's been able to hit the ground running with, yo, he made me kind of feel like, all right, I miss Randall. No, that I wanted Hartenstein. He showed us something like that was like,
True.
yo, this is crazy. But he came in and filled those voids quickly.
Yeah.
It was like, yo, and I could shoot all day too. It was like, oh, okay. But I felt like this too. I felt like the front office, they did a lot of scenarios where you felt like, oh, what are they doing? And then it unfolded and it's like, oh wow, okay. Yeah, we
Yeah,
did need
that's
to do
true.
that. Oh, what are you doing? Oh, okay. Oh wow. Because I wanted quickly to stay. You
Yeah,
know what I'm
yeah, yeah.
saying?
Quick.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
for
can't
sure.
front. I
For
feel like
sure.
quickly had that heart and spirit that
Yeah.
we needed in New York. DiVincenzo. I didn't want DiVincenzo. I felt like he got that one ill season.
He
Seemed like he
did.
was
He
ready to
did.
go amp, like New York, ragu, and they got rid of him. And you saw he was crushed. He was holding
Yeah.
on to the grudge for a minute, but
I mean,
at
they
the
had
end of
that
the
Nova connection too, that Nova connection.
exactly that Novak. And I'm sure he felt a little way because he's like, well, y'all traded and got McHale into the no. Oh, word, that's how y'all doing it. But the league is heartless in that way, where it's like it really is a business. You can have a great year and it not work out for that scenario, and them still get rid of you
That's true.
and trade you for something they feel like works better. But I guess this team, I love it because it's like a high level underdog energy too.
Yeah.
Because think about the captain, Brunson. Like, come on. Like, Dallas basically was like, oh, yeah, we can't use him. Bye. And he became like
He
one of the
became.
top players
Yeah.
in the league. And it's like, you
Word.
don't brush that off the table. Like, what were y'all doing? Like, who's responsible for that?
Yes.
That's not dope business. You don't just brush that off the table. I'm glad y'all did. But
Yeah.
how could you not see this?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I love that underdog energy. I love the rawness mixed with a level of humility, right? When you have a captain like that, yeah, he's raw, he's rugged, he gets in the mix, but he's respectable. He's not looking over you like, yo, when those teams come through, he's like, yo, nah, this squad is crazy. We had to do this and had to do that. And it's always respect. And I love
Right.
that because you could tell, nah, this cat, he grew up in the game, he respects it, and he knows, yo, yeah, we could win 10 in a row, but this is still the NBA. And yeah,
That's right.
we could get blown out any night. Like, you know what I'm saying?
That's real.
So,
That's real.
yeah.
So let me ask you this. What do you think? How close do you think we're to a championship? Do we need any other pieces? What kind of pieces do we need? Do you think we need another superstar or are we good? Like, how do you feel
You
about it?
know what? I'll say this. These next two nights will show us some things. If Detroit lets their squad play tonight, we'll see what's up because that's a possible Detroit and Milwaukee, and then Cleveland. We'll see what's up because that's top seed, right? And
Yes.
we saw what was up in Boston. Real talk.
That was a tough one.
No, but Boston, we were one play away from
Yeah.
finishing
Yeah.
because as I remember the last play. Tatum's coming up the court. He's been smashing crazy threes all night. It's like, why would you let him come up the court and shoot a three if we're down, if we're up three and there's like less than 20 seconds left? Like, why would you let him shoot the three instead of fouling him?
Right.
Make him do something extra. If you're gonna do this extra throw off the back, do something. I'm gonna force you to do something extra to get that overtime. But they're gonna let this dude come up and then hit the three, ties it overtime. I felt like that was a mistake. He should have been fouled. But long story short, I didn't walk away from that game sour because I'm like, yo, Brunson's barely back. This squad has barely really played together like that. And that's what we got to do to Boston, like in New York.
That's
Okay,
true. That's
let's
true.
go, fellas. Let's go. So I think we're gonna see. And I'll say this, bro. Earlier, was talking to the wife. She randomly said, "This is the morning we in the car." She was like, "Yo, if the Knicks win the Eastern Conference championship, Eastern Conference Finals, we got to go back to New York to feel that energy. Like, please, we got to just go out there." And I was like, "You know what? We do." But I was inside laughing, like, you know what? You saying that this year, it ain't impossible. It is
Nah, it's
not
not.
impossible,
It's
yo. And
not.
I thought about it. I say this. I'm just gonna put it out there in my way. If there's a team in the last 20 years of me watching that could win the championship, this is one of those teams. Definitely. There's a lot of space and, yeah, room.
Yeah.
There's what do they call it? There's depth.
Yeah,
We
yeah,
got
yeah,
depth
yeah, yeah.
right now. And yeah, I feel like this is a squad, especially if Tibbs gets out of his space of like, yo, only these people could play. It's like, bro, sometimes you got to use more of the
Yeah, yeah.
team and just
You
play
do, you do,
chess, bro.
you do.
Like, stop being, so locked in on these nine players only. It's like, yo,
I'm
if
glad
such and
Mikal
such is
Bridges said
killing it,
something about that. Yeah,
yeah, I'm like, if such and such is killing it one night, don't not try it again. That's silly. He's killing it. Like, come on, bring him in,
yeah,
let people rest. Because guess what? That shows your depth. That's how you really win.
yeah.
Because those other teams, every team don't got the same level of depth, right?
Nah.
So when you use that, that's how you tire these teams out. And you got your depth guys in, they got their starters in still for some minutes. Your starters are resting, and then boom, it's strategy, yo. And I want to see more of that with this team because
Yeah.
we need to use the depth more. But I'm excited, bro. I'm excited. It's definitely been a joy to watch. And yeah, that's one of my personal leisure pleasures, watching those Knicks.
For sure.
Definitely.
For sure. Same here, man. I think, I do think they have what it takes as well with a full healthy squad. And if
Yeah.
they get hot at the right time, because that's what the playoffs is about too. You got to come together at the right time.
Yeah,
You know what I'm
man.
saying? Get hot at the right time. Be consistent. You know what I'm saying? Work together, work well, and stay healthy. You know what
Exactly.
I'm
Yeah, we need the cats who could really turn up like we know they can do all that. We need Hart to do what he does. We need OG do what you do, Bridges, and of course, Cat and what's the name? Brunson. Do
saying?
what y'all
Yeah. Yeah.
do, automatic, right? But then we got these other cats who show
They
up.
can
You know
step
what I'm
up. Yeah,
saying?
yeah.
They show up and
Without a
just,
doubt.
yeah, Mitch is back. We got Precious who've been showing up all year. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? And just can't campaign has brought a lot to the
Mhm.
second squad. And yeah, I just think we got a lot of pieces to just really compete at a high level. So we're gonna see.
No
We're gonna
doubt.
see.
Hey, man. Go
Yeah,
Knicks.
man.
That orange and blue, man. But listen,
Absolutely.
Man, I appreciate your time, man. It's been a good one. A couple more things I wanted to rap with you about, man.
No doubt.
Recently, you and Invisible Hands and Soul Messiah announced a new project,
Yes,
Science
yes.
Messiah, man. Science
Science
Messiah
Messiah.
for sure.
Turn up the fire. Word
Mm-hmm.
up. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
so yeah, we connected on the Science Messiah vibes, and really this is not something that really came out of nowhere. I've known Soul Messiah. We met Soul Messiah originally in probably like 2000, 2001, when Science of Life moved to the Southeast for the first time. And, at the time, even back then, well respected in the city, had a bunch going on, worked with a lot of mainstream stuff, but still rooted in the underground with his stuff. But we never really connected in that way. And then moving away to LA and back to New York, seeing the come up and breakthrough of Cyrock was inspiring. You know what I'm
Yes.
saying? Because it's
Yes.
like, yeah, I watched this come from like, yo, I'm doing mixtapes, this, that, to like now I'm on global stages, like repping at the highest level, period. Like, you know what I'm saying? Where it's like, nah, I ain't just a dope female MC. I'm a dope MC around the
Word.
world.
Period.
Yeah. And I love that. And,
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that connection definitely brought back when him and Eloh Kush connected. Because Eloh Kush and him connected up top in Jersey, just separate of all of us. And
Okay.
that connection, I felt like brought it back around. Because
Mm-hmm.
clearly we're on that album. And Soul being back here, Soul been reaching out, yo, let's connect, connect. And we never crossed path. But that brought it back where it's like, yo. And then another thing, I'll say this really, the connection for me depended on Invisible Hands. That's my brother. That's my older brother, my OG, right? So I felt like, yo, if we're gonna work with Soul Messiah and he's doing all the beats on this thing, if Four Winds is with it, I'm with it. Because he's really the one that normally does the
Yeah.
beats.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Down to do this, I'm with it. And once he got into it, it was like, oh, word, this is dope.
Let's go.
So long story short, like we say, it started as two solo albums. Started as, yo, Soul Messiah, I'm working on an Invisible Hands project. Soul Messiah, I'm working on a John Robinson project.
Okay.
And I feel like halfway in, I thought about it like, yo, why are we separating all this energy? Like, this is
Mm-hmm.
dying. What if we brought this energy together and just said, boom? I'm like, nah, I don't think that's the best move to separate the energy first. Maybe we get back to that. So in my mind, it's like, what if we did this same thing, separate records, but put them together on one album? And then it transferred into, yes, let's do that. But then let's also add together songs too. And then let's also get probably some of the most interesting combination of collaborations on this record that Scienz of Life ever been a part of. Right. And we just created something that I think is very timeless and timely, and yeah, I really feel like this is like super group energy. Like when
Yeah.
this hits, especially like, when you see like something like Eloh Kush, Science Messiah, Sa Rock on the same stage, like, yeah, that could be some electrifying,
Yeah.
like,
That's
whoa,
that's
God
definitely
hot for that ass. You know what I'm saying?
for
So
sure.
that's the vision. That's
Yeah. Yeah.
definitely
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
vision, and you know, uh, the goddess MC. Like I said, I'm loving what I've been hearing, seeing from her and her growth.
Same.
And it's been one of those things where, yo, that inspires us.
Word
She's
up.
on the record. I can't front. When I heard her verse first, I had to say, oh, okay, I got to sit down and write. Like, whoa, because yeah, she went
Yeah, you already
crazy.
know. She always does, man. She
She
always does,
does.
man.
Yeah, I don't think she knows how to just rap regular. Like it's
Nah, she
always
gotta go in, man.
yeah, and I love it. So
Yeah,
it gives us that competitive edge, and she's even, let us know that yeah, this energy inspires her as well. So
for
it's
sure.
definitely a dope link, and expect to see more and hear more real soon.
No
Because
doubt.
that's the thing about Soul Messiah too. I love, yo, that brother. He's one of those people, and I've been working with these type people my whole career where he gets it done.
Yeah.
Yo, you do your part and hand it to him, he's gonna get it done. And
Quick,
my
quick
brother
too. That's what I heard.
Swift,
Yeah, yeah.
Swift, and that's how he's able. You'll see the output. That brother, and I could tell this connection has inspired us from both sides too, because what he's been delving into over these last several weeks has been like, yo, bro, what is? yo, you got like a whole shipment of new sounds and beats. And yeah, so he's been
Yeah.
inspired as well. And it's just been dope energy. And the
For
biggest
sure.
part of it that I guess we're all excited about is the sonics and vibrations are for nurturing, for community, for culture, for healing, for perspective, for empowering our people and
Yes.
evolving, just where we are and taking ourselves to another place. That's what it's foundating in. We're
Hmm.
not just running around these stages fucking trying to be rappers looking cool like at all. This is like, nah, we're pouring our hearts out and we're
No doubt.
connecting with our universal families all around the planet, the human
Word up.
family.
Word
Like,
up, man.
that's my thing. Like you mentioned in the beginning, pro-black to the death of it, right? But the human family is welcome, judged by your merit. You know
That's
what I'm
right.
saying? That's how
That's
we move.
right.
Word
No
up.
doubt. Yeah,
I
for
don't care
sure.
who you are. Your energy speaks to me in
Hmm.
volumes. So
That's
that's the
real.
vibes.
That's real, man. I appreciate that. I'm looking forward to listening to some of that, man, to
Oh
seeing
yeah,
what
no,
y'all
I'm
got
looking
cooking
forward to
up.
the world hearing it, man. I'm
Hmm.
very proud of this project, man.
For
We
sure.
we we went in and yeah, I'm looking forward to the world hearing this for
For
sure.
sure. Yeah, no doubt. Shout out to Soul Messiah, man.
Big time.
All right, man. Listen, before you go, man, we like to do this here at the Vital Hoops podcast, man. I feel like, unfortunately, a lot of our people is getting the information from, quick clips, on IG
Yeah,
or whatever. And, it's a lot of misinformation out there. And I think it's kind of important for us to go back to the books, you know what I'm saying?
big time.
So we love to do these, book recommendation. So if you have a book or two that you'd like to recommend to the people,
Yeah, it's
much
funny when you
appreciated.
asked in the email for one, I was like, one ain't enough. I
I
can't
know,
do
I know. That's what I always get.
it.
You could definitely do a couple, man. It's all
Yeah,
good.
yeah. But yeah, off the top, right? I'll say just because the space I'm in off of Keep It Moving, yo, I would say Dr. Claude Anderson, PowerNomics, right? It gives a nice thorough layout. And that's the thing. It's kind of dated in some in terms of the number, but the
Okay,
perspective is super relevant right now, all
okay,
throughout that book. And it's a book that was introduced to me really through Wise Intelligent.
okay.
That's the
Wow,
first time I heard of that book. So
wow.
PowerNomics, Dr. Claude Anderson. On the health and wealth vibes, I feel like, yo, the classic Nutricide. You know what I'm saying? Nutricide.
That's a good one. Appreciate
Yeah,
that one. We haven't gotten
yeah.
that one recommended yet, man.
Yeah, like
Nutricide for sure.
Nutricide. Go back to the classic.
Yeah,
Go back to the OG, Dr. Llaila Afrika. And I feel like it breaks down why plants. It breaks down why wellness, why health,
yes,
why your body is different.
yes,
It is,
yes.
like real
It
talk.
is, it is, it is.
Yeah, you can't
Eh,
consume anything you want and think that the machine's going to be up and running. I think
eh,
this gets into the deep of that,
yeah, yeah,
understanding it better and understanding like how we've been taught wrong about nutrition
yeah.
and the food chart and all of that stuff. So I think
Yes,
on that journey, if
a
you
lot of
haven't
lies.
tapped into that, tune in. And then
And listen, it's funny you said that. Excuse me to cut
no,
your
go ahead.
wisdom, but it's funny you
Yeah,
said that. But recently, we I was in Paris with some of my comrades and we were at a Pan-African bookstore and Nutricide was
yeah,
there, you
yeah,
know what I'm saying? And I was
yeah,
surprised because I had never seen that one in France, you know what I'm
yeah.
saying? And it was dope to see it. That brother, it was some good books over there. But yeah, Nutricide is definitely a great one,
Nutricide.
man.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, because it was, I mean, that was one of those sleepers. I feel like that it's before its time. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like most of the people who were reading that book easily were kind of like Pan-African OGs who were
Yeah.
on that already. It wasn't the younger generation tuned
Uh-huh.
in yet. But then once we start to tap in and realize, whoa, 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 wait a minute, these fast food places are killing us. Yo, they doing it, they putting this in, and oh man, it's hitting the supermarkets too. Yo, you can't eat everything, God. Read the ingredients. And once that start to tune in, those books were on those tables, and then you're in that world now.
No
Shout
doubt.
out to Willoughby. That was
Hmm.
probably one of those books that she said, "Oh, he's crazy reading those books." Nutricide, I'm almost certain was one of them.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Word
But
up.
it was yeah, and then another book I would say is Blues People. Blues People. Amiri Baraka,
Mm.
aka Leroy Jones. Blues People's a book that with all this arguing going around, who created this and who created that, and we are the blues people. You know what I'm saying? The blues people created it all. like literally, you know what I'm saying? Without shadow of a doubt. When you tap back into, and I'm talking like really black music in America, right? In that sense, when you're talking here in this space and
Yeah.
going back to a certain time, it just kind of just brings the lineage forward from back in the blues era all the way up to today and how we got there and what we had to go through to get there.
Yes.
And really how it's all connected, even by the chords and the notes and the perspective. And yeah, it's just a deep dive on that. If you're nerdy about that type of stuff, Blues People is the one.
Word up.
And yeah, those are my three. I'll give you that
Hey,
triad.
that's powerful right there, man.
Right.
Appreciate it. So listen, man. Again, thank you for your time, man. Appreciate the work,
So,
everything that you do. Keep it going, man. And I'm gonna have a lot of links down in the description for everybody to check out your work. And
no
if you
doubt, no
can,
doubt.
even though the links will be down there, if you can let the people know the website, the IG, all of that, so people can check you out before you
Yeah,
go,
yeah.
man.
Yeah, it's real simple. It's the same, really. The website is www.johnrobinsonmusic.com and the IG is at John Robinson Music. And either of those places, yeah, you could tap in. The website connects to all type of stuff. I even recently put connection to a documentary I did with my peeps Thomas Simmons on the Jazz Vibe some years ago. So I put that on the website recently.
Okay.
And yeah, you're sharing a lot more things because my vibe is this. If you're creative out there and you're all over these platforms and you don't have a website, the moment these platforms go away, your people won't know where to find you, man. So
That's right.
even on social media, etc., create even a small web page just to
Hmm.
have. And I'll leave y'all on with this jewel, right? If you don't have a website and you feel like, I ain't got the money to spend on a website, if you have a Gmail account, you have a website. Every Gmail account is connected to Google Sites. That's a free website.
Mm.
So if you got
Word
Gmail
up.
and you go into the Google Suite, you could go to Google Sites, and that's a free website. Build your website, connect your domain to it, and keep it moving, yo. Word up.
Keep it moving, yo. Yo, thank you, John Robinson. Appreciate you, man.
Yo,
Definitely, man. Anytime,
vitality. Yeah,
my
man. Nah,
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
I'm definitely I'm glad we got to do this. I know we've been anticipating this for some time, and
Word.
know, my thing is, I love having these builds with, brothers and sisters who are just forward thinking and want to share value and,
Yes.
spread the vibes to other people, man. So
Hmm.
I tell is vital, but so is hoops. So,
Word up.
yeah,
Word up.
we
Yeah,
good.
that's definitely where the inspiration from the name came
Yeah, I
from,
can
man. You
tell.
already know.
Definitely. Yeah, yeah.
No doubt.
So yeah, blessings to you, brother. Give thanks. And
No doubt.
yeah, we'll stay in tune.
Peace, peace. Much respect, brother.
Peace, brother.
Peace. All right, all right, all right, all right. That was episode 81 of the Vital Hoops podcast with John Robinson. Please like, share, subscribe. We give thanks. Check out those links down there. Connect with the brother John Robinson. Go get that book. Keep it moving, yo. And make sure you check out our previous episodes. Like I said, we recently had one with the gods, Eloh, Kush, and Soul Messiah. You know what I mean? Recently had one with the brother Marcel P. Black. We had the brother Rex on. Much more. A lot on hip hop, basketball, Pan-Africanism, veganism, holistic health, all of that. This is Vital Hoops. Like I said, we appreciate you. Make sure you go to blackpowermedia.org. A lot going on over there. So go check it out. And like I said, subscribe. Vital Hoops for the people, by the people, for the culture. Uhuru.